segue back into, especially like the Xanax with the anxiety and stuff like that, and talk about mental health. You know what I mean? So, right now what I want to start off with is like, you just competed.
Yeah.
All right. And then you just came back yesterday from competing. It's too like that,
This morning, bro.
How
3 a.m.
How like just as for specifically just speaking sports wise, how important mental health like that is for you, like that, you want to.
The last episode we talked about creating like a routine and something to bring you back so that way you can stay in your zone. And I think I didn't do that in the past, but I did it this time.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, I would get like super bad anxiety, the anticipation of getting like knowing I was going to compete and like questioning myself, questioning my abilities and stuff like that. And then when I created the routine this time and I did my thing, I was in a whole different headspace.
You really were.
Whole different headspace. I loved it. I had a lot of fun and like I felt ready. I felt confident. I felt good. I didn't get my win, but the fact that I was able to step out there in a whole different headspace, I'm like, this is a level up. This is all I ask for, and the next time I'll get it, But in the past, it hasn't always been like that, and in the past it's been hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I can tell the difference. Like in 30-minute increments, after the shot. That
I still feel I took it too early.
Hey, you gotta put that into your.
Hey, but I loosened up and I was like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah. I really saw it, and I think like the meter were like you were here, and then I was like here, and then like over the hour right before, as soon as I started seeing, okay, 3 fights are left for you, 2 fights are left for you, 1 fight is left for you. Okay, you're on deck. Like you were like when you were stepping out, and I looked at you and I asked you before you like that, like I just saw overwhelming sense of confidence. Like I was like, yeah, she's gonna fucking get this, like that. Like I was like that. But for me in the back of the head, I was like, fuck, now I'm stressed out for her. Like I want her to get this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And obviously it played out like it did, and you didn't come out on top and stuff like that. But
hey, but I saw the video and I was like, dang, I was doing that and I was doing that, and I was like, I felt so good.
And so it just goes to show you the routine and stuff like that. But then again, what I tell you afterwards, it's just just chalk it up for an experience like that, and you already been through these, through this in your head and playing it through and like that, and now just constantly putting yourself in those situations where you don't feel so much anxiety and stress, those that emotional roller coaster, because that's what it really is. Am I ready, am I not ready? Just a lot of self-doubt, and all, like that, and everybody goes through it, and the thing is that you just got to kind of really just ride it like that, and once you're in this shit, like that, like nah, like I need to take over,
right?
For sure, and it, win, lose or draw like that, it just all right, I still was able to take over it. I can recall all the little miscues that I didn't do, and I could take this as a lesson and then apply it to the next time. But the thing is that if you can't recall those things afterwards, win, lose or draw like that, you know what, you didn't take control of that emotional roller coaster like that. You were just so far lost in the sauce.
You can't go black. You can't go black.
For sure.
You
How
can't
about
go
yourself? On a bigger platform as for tournament wise, what for World Master Worlds?
So
how many times? This is what?
This is like let's see, 16, 17, 18. So this is like my 4th or 5th one.
4th or 5th time?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But there was a big lull.
Is this your first one for black, right?
This is my first one for black.
Black belt, okay.
First one for black. But there was nothing at Brown. So 2019, 2020, 21, there was nothing because COVID.
Yeah, COVID.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then 21, I just got my black belt, so I wasn't going 22.
Yeah.
So there had been a big lull. And then it was kind of weird because I went through my routine was the same, and I really did. I felt confident. I felt good. I dealt with all the, whatever. I felt good. But the difference was this took me way back to 2016, the first time I did Worlds. So the first time I did it, I walked in the room and I was like awestruck. You know, like this time I was on mat 30, bro. Right? Like I was on mat 30.
Yeah.
When you've been to a room, it's
Who the fuck is on mat 30?
right? Like, yeah. And that wasn't the last mat, right? Like I'm on mat 30. So I was like, oh shit, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But this time around, it was my anxiety. Wasn't anxiety. My stress came because I wanted it so badly.
Yeah.
I wanted it so badly that I know where I misstepped. I know the misstep. I know what happened, but I was so tunnel visioned, which is a problem with stress and anxiety. I was so tunnel visioned that I was locked in on one thing and not seeing everything else that was going on around me.
Yeah.
Right. I wasn't loose enough. You know what I'm saying? So I mean that's a razor's edge.
Yeah.
Like you have to be when you're in that zone, you have to be so far in it that nothing else is getting in, but you have to be in the place in it where you can see everything that's going on.
So let me ask you this, since you said that, you know, looking back, all right, what do you feel a competitor should be, like hyper vigilant or overly aggressive?
So I think it depends on what you're doing. But for me, I would think that hypervigilance is the way.
Yeah.
And when I first started with Pablo, I'm coming from Metro, right? And so I go in my first term into Apollo. Apollo was like, Jules, he was like, this is a game, not a fight. He was like, stop fighting. This is a game. Yeah. And so I was like, damn, okay. So then I took that into consideration. And then one day, this was 2017. We were getting ready to compete. And I fucking tore it up 2017. But 2017, he said, I'll never forget it. He's Pablo, Brazilian, you know, he's got the accent. English is not always the best. Yeah. It's gotten way better. But back then, I'll tell you the story about that later. But he said, give them nothing and take from them everything. Right? Yeah. And that equates to me to hypervigilance. Yeah. Like be super tight, just be safe. And when they fuck up, then you take it. Yeah. As opposed to being over aggressive and you being the one to make the mistake.
And you miss something.
And you miss something. Yeah. Right. And so
and I only ask you that is because, like what you said, you know, like you wanted it so bad, and then like you're so anticipating, you know, like that you're tired of the wait, you know. Right. As a fighter, I'm like, the wait for me is like, oh the God, worst. Like the worst. It really is. You know what I mean? Because I'm ready right now. Yes. Now. You know what I mean? Like how right what did you just say? You felt like you took it too, you took that shot too early, you know, right? Yeah. Like that. You would have timed it. You know what I mean? Like that, you know. And then like for me, you know, every time I would fight and stuff, like, you know, like that, like, man, like, you know, there's sometimes that before I even step in, or like probably a minute into the fight, I already feel an adrenaline dump. Yeah. You know, like that, because like, you know, the timing of it. Yes. You know what I mean? I was fucking ready 30 minutes ago. Now I still got 2 hours left, you know, to do it like that. You know, and so then you get into your first fight and you're like, I want it to be over. So now you're super overly aggressive. You're probably missing freaking, you know, opportunities, cues and stuff like that you probably never did, you know, if you would have just chilled out a little bit more. You know what I mean? And
I told you the story about my first Master Worlds, right?
Yeah, like where you're just too freaked out.
Bro, I lost it 2 hours before I ever stepped on the mat. Because I walked in and was so, my heart was racing for 2 hours. By the time I slept, I might as well had run a marathon before I even stepped on the mat for the first time. And it's the same thing, bro. Like you need it now. Yep. And that part I've been able to come back on. Like
I do that to myself a lot. You know, I do that myself a lot. You know what I mean? I like, you know, where I want it to be over. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I get so aggressive, you know, freaking, you know, doing something like what you're talking about, just tunnel vision and not seeing other things in their setups. Right. You know what I mean? And then I leave a hand behind, or you know, I'll leave a foot behind, or freaking, then I burn my fucking self out, whatever it is, just going so super hard, and maybe I got 2 more matches after this, you know what I mean? And like, so even if maybe I came out with the win on this one, but I'm like, fuck, I'm already toast. I'm already toast on the next one, that's gonna come up, you know what I mean? Like that, and overall, just putting yourself in that experience, and then just where you're just doing it time and time after your game, like that, where, like if you're able to do it financially, I think that's like that. But if that's not even out of the question, you could do it, and you have, willingly, where, you get numb to those things, you know what I mean? And it's unaffected, like that, and so, but the thing is that just putting yourself out there, just making that first step is going to be crucial, first of all.
Yeah.
Bro,
you know what I mean?
You have to keep. So I sent you the video that I listened to with Tyson, right? About the moment.
No, I've seen it before.
The moment I've seen it. Yeah, it's just, I don't think it's anything that you can get. It's like Ricky Bobby. You have to learn how to drive with the fear. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how else to put
you
it.
said Ricky Bobby, and I'm just like, if you're not first, you're last.
Like you just like you know it's coming. Like you know it's coming.
Yeah.
Like you know it's coming. Like your fight day's coming up. I know that I'm gonna go through this process, and I just have to, like, you just have to know, like, you have to get accustomed to say, okay, fuck it, here's what it is.
It's like a big UFC event coming up. You know what I mean? I can guarantee you talk to any of those fighters. You know what I mean? What week do they hate? They hate media week. You're talking about 5 fucking days that they are forced to freaking fly in, freaking get in there, disturb their whole camp, their eating, their cycle, everything that they're doing, all right, because they're bound by contract to go ahead and freaking take the pictures, freaking talk to the interviews, do this phone call, sign all these autographs, like that. It is totally takes you out
and be across the table from the guy that you're supposed to fight. Like talking shit to him. Like, just fucking do it.
That this guy's already freaking playing head games, with me. Now I got to freaking deal with the media like that, and then freaking, my weight cut is, still not where it was. It's like it's just so much around. You know what I mean? So but the true champions, the ones that freaking have been there and at the show on the big stage like that, and have put in the time, and multiple title defense, like that, they understand. They're living with that. This is what it is. Go ahead like that. And I can guarantee you that they always shift and adjust something in their camp before that week to make sure that they're on like that, and they don't have to worry about it.
Well, you calculated to every.
Mm-hmm.
Did you? And maybe you sent it to me. Did you see that interview with Cormier and John Jones, where he was like, I will kill you.
Yeah, there's just so much, like that.
bro. Yeah. John Jones is the most
savage. You still there, you little bitch?
His interviews with Cormier were the most savage I've ever seen, bro. But it's also part of it. He was like, no matter what it was that got him through it, he was always able to get through that big week, the 5-round fights. They just didn't bother him. Maybe they didn't affect him. They may have bothered him, but they didn't affect him.
Like for me, like I know there's always going to be a weight and stuff like that, and for me, like, I never care, especially in a tournament, I never care to look at my brackets. You know what I mean? Never care to look at my brackets, like that, because then I started, you look in the brackets, you made the mistakes of looking at your brackets like that, and then you start to go to a rabbit hole. Well, who's this guy? What gym are they from? Like that. Who's their, you start to do all that shit, and you get in your head, oh shit.
I used to do that right before I would get on. I would size up my opponents. I'm like, they got 4 stripes and they do this, and I'm like, why did that even? None of that even mattered.
It doesn't even fucking matter. Don't do that to yourself.
Don't do it
like
to yourself.
And so. It's one of those things that just those head games that you play with in yourself, and then you're fucking, because between here, like that, freaking between your own ears and your inside your head like that, like that's where what's really what we're talking about now, your mental health, like that, where you're trying to contain and make sure that what, you keep the edge, you stay hyper vigilant, you're still confident in your own abilities and what it is, and you stay away from your weak spots, and you play to your strengths and things like that, and just and you're ready and see that thing. I just finished watching an interview with Shane O'Malley. Now that he's champion.
Not the one about his girlfriend, right?
Nah.
Okay.
like that. And he was talking about, his mental mindset and, freaking right before the fight and stuff like that. And he said that, this was probably the only time, even though it was one of the biggest, right now in his career, freaking fights that he has, like that, he was so ready, you know what I mean? And the preparation, the camp, the eating, the diet, everything like that, he was on it, like that. But he was telling himself, this whole mantra, the whole camp, and I believe he was like, I'm quick, I'm fast, I'm something else. Like he was saying that, like that. But that's all he was telling himself, in the backstage getting ready, while he was watching all the fights. That's another fucking thing too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Bro, I hate
like,
that so
when
much,
I would
bro.
fight, I was like, okay,
so
in UFC, you get your own, you get your own freaking room. You know what I mean? You got your own buddies, your coach and stuff like that. Your own room back there. Well, amateurs, when I was coming up, and even, freaking fighting for legacy and things like that. No, you got the red corner room, you got the blue corner room.
Yeah.
All right. And guess what? If you're stuck in that one room that fucking everybody's coming back, whether they're in your team or not, they're losing, man, it just puts a different fucking vibe in that room. Yep. You know what I mean? Even though you're confident and you're on your head, but you're just seeing fight 1, all right, blue corner lost. Fight 2, blue corner lost. Like, fuck, I'm in blue corner, like that. Like that, and to get out of that zone like that, man, like you just, man, it's a head game.
That's what. So remember, I was saying, I think I may just fly in on the day of the tournament and fly out the same day, because you fly in, you typically don't compete till mid-afternoon. I'm in another city, so I get up, I wake up hella early in the morning because it's fight day. So it's not like I can't sleep till noon, right? So then, but now I had to get out of the hotel. So now I'm just sitting around the venue, walking around, all the matches going on, thinking to myself, man, this guy does this, what does this happen? And now all of a sudden you've got all these little voices swimming around in your head about all the stuff that even when you don't look at your bracket, you do this, you do. Even when you don't, you just you can't help but when you walk around, you go, that guy's about my height. He's got his beard's almost as gray as mine.
He has a black belt.
Yeah. And then all
Is that the guy?
You're like, maybe it's this motherfucker. It's like, this shit's just hard, bro. It's
hard.
A
lot, for sure. And it's a lot of timing issues, experience of just, putting yourself in those situations that, this is what's going to come and stuff like that. You're prepared for those things, for sure.